The interpretation to be put on this probabilistic approach is open to considerable debate. For example, consider a system in which particles travel in a beam towards two closely separated slits. The wave function psi corresponding to this situation displays an interference pattern because the probability wave passes through both slits. So this is a very common little experiment that's done in physics classes, the double slit experiment. If the beam is powerful, it will consist of huge numbers of photons. Statistically, the photons should land on a screen behind the slits according to the probability dictated by the wave function. Since the slits set up an interference pattern, the screen will show a complicated series of bright and faint bands where the waves sometimes add up in phase and sometimes subtract because of being out of phase. This seems reasonable, but suppose we turn the beam down in power. This can be done in such a way that there is only one photon at any time traveling through the slits. So like, what if you tricked this setup and said, we will only allow one photon. One photon. Don't you be leaking anywhere else. The arrival, this can be done in a way such that there is only one photon at any time traveling through the slits. The arrival of each photon can be detected on the screen. By running the experiment for a reasonably long time, one can build up a pattern on the screen. Despite the fact that only one photon at a time is traveling through the apparatus, guess what? Guess how what? The screen still shows the pattern of fringes. So even when you reduce it down to one photon at a time, light still behaves like a wave. How? How? How does it maintain this dual nature of both a particle and wave? How? Who's going to explain it now? Right? It's like if you left this to classical physicists, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? How are you going to explain this? How are you going to explain the fact that you allowed only one photon through and you still got the wave nature of light as well as the particle nature of light? There was still the dual nature of light being manifested. How? How do you explain that? Who comes to the rescue? Even though it's bizarre, uncertainty principle. So in some sense, each photon must turn into a wave when it leaves the source, travel through both slits, interfering with itself on the way, and then turn back into a photon in order to land in a definite position on the screen.